What's up, everyone? This is Angelo coming at you with episode 221 of Spinning Thoughts. My special guest this episode is Deanna from Sincere Engineer. They just dropped their brand new album, Bless My Psyche, on September the 10th via Hopeless Records. If you like this kind of content, make sure you give it a like. If you're new here at Spinning Thoughts, go ahead and subscribe with all the notifications so you never miss a thing. We're going to talk to Deanna about this new album, Bless My Psyche. We're going to dive into some of the nuance of what it's like being a band right now during this pandemic, trying to release new music. We're going to talk about the upcoming tour as special guests on Hot Mulligan's run with Super American and Prince Daddy and the Hyena. That's going to be an epic tour, and it's kind of been in the making seemingly forever. This tour was supposed to support the last two releases from Hot Mulligan, but as we all know, the pandemic has just not wanted it to happen, but it looks like it's going to November the 11th through December the 18th. Again, Hot Mulligan, Sincere Engineer, Super American, and Prince Daddy and the Hyena. We're also going to talk to Deanna about their approach creatively to music videos. There's a lot of visual elements on this new album, Bless My Psyche. We're going to talk about all of that and more. Without any further ado, let's dive into my conversation with Deanna from Sincere Engineer. I am very excited for my guest here today. They just dropped a brand new album on September the 10th, so it is fresh and ready to be listened to. Everybody, give a warm podcast welcome to Deanna from Sincere Engineer. Deanna, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I know that right now is a crazy time for you because, as I just mentioned, the band dropped the brand new album, Bless My Psyche, on September the 10th via Hopeless Records. I kind of want to just get your initial just reactions and excitement from all of this madness that leads up to releasing an album and now it being out there. Like, how are you feeling?
I'm exhausted at the moment just because we had the release show on Friday, and it was a lot of socializing after not doing that for so long. But I was super excited. I think it's going well. This record rollout has been almost a year long because we kind of strung it out so we could tour on the record closer to. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm super glad it's out now. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of artists and bands can relate to, just this timeline that has seemingly gone on forever for so many different things, from album releases to tours, which I think, is part of a tour package that you're on here in November, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. You mentioned the album release was on Friday. Can you give me just a little bit of insight as to, what that was about, how it went?
It was at Cobra Lounge here in Chicago, hometown show. It was super awesome. Lots of friends were there. We all had a blast. We had our friends' bands open for us, so it was a good time.
Who were the bands that opened?
Foresight, Annabelle, and Canadian Rifle.
Nice, very cool. Yeah. Awesome. So I'm sure it felt great to get back up on stage. I don't know if that was the first time in a while for you.
Yeah. We played a couple before, but this was the one that I was most worried about and freaking out. So
absolutely. So Deanna, talk to me a little bit about this timeline. I know that time seems to be just the weirdest thing anymore, but to the best of your ability, from writing this album, recording it, how much of a span of time are we talking here?
4 years.
Wow.
Which is
okay.
Crazy. Yeah. The first record came out in 2017. And then because of the pandemic, that added a year that I didn't expect. And I was I did this on my own at first. So I was touring solo, and I still have a full-time job, and trying to write a record. Was a lot of stuff to juggle, but so yeah, these songs span from the end of the last record to the most recent one I wrote was right when we came home from tour, because we were out in March of 2020. We had to leave tour because of the pandemic. So yeah, a lot of time, but
long time coming for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first release via Hopeless Records for you?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so that was part of it too. Signing with them took a little longer than expected, with all the contract stuff. So
When did those conversations really start happening? And when was the if you can remember, I know again, time is crazy, but when was that announcement official with Hopeless?
I started talking to them in November of 2019, and the first announcement and first single that came out was October 2020. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I mean, it's literally almost a year before the record came out. So.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned the most, there's a lot of things I've learned from talking to bands and artists, but like patience seems to be the thing that
for sure
that bands and artists have to deal with the most. It's just the most recurring theme that I hear about, especially with the climate of things that we're living in today. Would you say you're typically a patient person?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not, so this sounds like torture.
Yeah, it was like, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't know. It went by so fast, and like, we put out the first song and I wanted it all out, but it was like, we gotta like, I got a lot of opinions on when a good time to put it out in an unprecedented pandemic.
Right. I'm sure. I'm sure that those conversations are ongoing for everybody who's, still trying to navigate these murky waters. But to continue on this topic of Hopeless, so I know for me at least, they're one of my favorite labels out there. Totally. So many others of people who I interact with through Spinning Thoughts. We have over 12 contributors here. I know Hopeless is just a recurring label that we always talk about. What's it just been like personally for you to have this evolution in your music and to have something like a Hopeless Records supporting it?
Oh, it's been awesome. They're super supportive. They all like text me like periodically, check in on me. They, give me a lot of freedom to like, make decisions and stuff. And I don't know, they're really awesome to work with. I'm like, I want to meet them all because it's kind of weird to like have a relationship, like a working relationship with people like across the country. Like coming off of Red Scare Records for the first album, that was like like Toby Jag runs it. He's like a friend of mine. So like, it was easier to like, I could like run over to his apartment or whatever and talk to him. So it's like different, but they're super awesome.
It's been so impressive just seeing how different relationships in the music industry have worked with the distance and how I mean we've just had to kind of make it work, I guess.
Yeah, but for sure.
There's so many labels that haven't met all their artists, press teams and stuff, and I'm starting to see this a little bit on social media of like these gatherings of people meeting for the first time, and it's got to be crazy just because you get to know people from such a far distance,
right?
And then you're right totally up against them.
It's just like it's like no longer like small DIY sort of thing. It's cool. I'm not like complaining. It's like funny. It's like, I talk to these people every day and haven't met them yet in person, but it's cool.
It's awesome. I mean, for me, I've played in bands before. I mean, Hopeless Records, what a dream. That's got to be so awesome. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you so much.
I'm a big fan of the album, and I didn't mention it while we were taping, so I had to throw that in there. Now, and I don't want to harp anymore other than I guess maybe this question on the dynamic of being a band in the pandemic. I feel like it's still ongoing, so there's some value in talking about it. What was it like recording? I mean, what studio were you at? Like, where did you go to record this? And like, what was it like to actually have to go and record during this? Was it canceled? Like, was there a lot of like gaps in between?
Yeah, it was, first, like we couldn't get into a studio for a couple months. That added to a lot of that time too. And then we all kind of did our parts separately so that we could be like distance and keep it like minimal people. I did like all my stuff kind of earlier at, my drummer and my producer like owned a studio together called Type 1 here in Chicago. So I did like all my stuff there. And then we did drums and bass at a studio called Narwhal in Chicago. And then I did vocals down in Kansas City where my producer Matt Jordan lives. And it's called B24 Studios, I believe. So it was like a lot of like, let's get this part done and keep it like minimal distanced, obviously. It was super weird. We didn't get to have like a party at the end of it and like celebrate being done. It was just like a text that was like, oh, the record's done. So
oh man, yeah, that's anticlimactic if I've ever heard it, right?
For sure. But we made up for it this weekend. That's why I'm partly exhausted because we the release show, we like got a cake and did some shots.
Well deserved all around.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit more specific on the writing, from what I understand, Sincere Engineer kind of was just you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
From reading a few things, it seems like kind of not even necessarily to your own idea, but happily received, with your debut album, it was going to be like full band. Am I correct on that assessment?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would just assume that you probably are used to writing songs and fleshing them out on your own, but what's it been like having to write an album with a full band? What is your process? Is it still you at the very beginning fleshing it all out, or what's that dynamic like?
It's still very similar. Like I write all the songs and like do most of the like I don't know, like play guitar and sing and stuff, and then I have demos, and then I show my producer, and he kind of like helps me with like the arrangement if it needs like work or something, and then we make like full band demos, and then we show my bandmates, and they add their ideas to it, and then we go record the real thing. So yeah, it's very similar to the first time around, but I actually didn't even know my bandmates when we made the first one, or I met them like during the process of it. It's like mostly me and Matt and my bassist Kyle, or sorry, my guitarist Kyle. He played bass on the first record. So it's been a very weird setup, but I don't know.
Music is beautiful for a lot of different reasons, but I think that it can easily bring people together,
Oh yeah, for sure.
In a way that it's so unique, right?
What'd you say?
In a way that's just so unique, like where there's these people coming together, in your case, to make music, not really even knowing each other, but the end product sounds cohesive as hell,
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know them, and then we practiced for the release show for the first record. And then we toured a bunch together. Now they're like my best friends. So
it's amazing.
It's awesome.
And that, again, that's the power of music. And that's why you see these communities within the music scene that come together because of just, I think, that beauty and that power. So
yeah, totally.
It's kind of like your story a little bit, it seems like. Now, Deanna, what song off of the record would you say has pushed you the most as an artist? Is there one in particular that stands out?
Yeah, I think like Recluse in the Making is the weird one. It's like more poppy, and there's like barely any guitar on it. And it's like super vulnerable, and probably the most personal song I've written. So we just played it like on Friday, and it was kind of like a lot for me to like be like talking about this, or like, singing the words. But I don't know. It's also my favorite though. So,
Tyra, who wrote our review, and everybody can check that out on our website, thespinningthoughts.com. I want to say that was her favorite song, but I could be wrong. To me, it stands out. And I love the music video for it as well, which, we'll talk about the music videos here in a minute.
Yeah.
Similar question. Is there a song that you're seeing in the short amount of time that this album has now been out, which is at the time of this taping 2 days?
Yeah.
Are you seeing any song in particular that fans are connecting to or engaging with that maybe you didn't expect?
Yeah, Hurricane of Misery, which like is like kind of like, it's not like a joke song, but I definitely like it was like a little bit of a risk because it's kind of goofy, and like it's about like throwing up is what I keep saying. But people are like, that's the one that people are tagging in their like Instagram stories and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So
you gotta love it. The things that people will connect with is, again, the power of music, I suppose.
Yeah, totally.
Now, I mentioned Recluse in the Making is I think it's one of my favorites off the album. It's my favorite music video that I've seen out of the lot. Now, I think there's 4 music videos that are currently off of this album, if I'm correct. Trust Me, coming in last, Recluse in the Making, and Out of Reach. Am I missing any?
Tourniquet, the cartoon one, or the animation one.
Oh, geez, I got to check that one out then. Okay.
Yeah, there were like 5 singles from the record. Most of it was out by the time the record actually came out. So
got it. So there's 5 then. 5 out of the 11 tracks have a visual element to it, which I think is fantastic. You have this really awesome like consistency in your creativity and kind of like your authenticity. Obviously the visuals will be like that because there's the immense amount of authenticity in your lyrics and everything. But can you talk to me just personally what the importance to you of creating music videos to complement your songs, and maybe any kind of approach that you have to this process?
Sure. So like for the first one with the bird, the fake bird and the biking on with the pizza and stuff. That was just like I was just toying with a bunch of ideas. Like I always keep a list of stuff that we could do for videos and stuff, and that's the one that stuck for that one. But like in the past, I've made like our own videos like with my phone and just like, you know, minimal budget production sort of deal. But so I knew like signing to Hopeless, I wanted to like stick to that and make like a do it myself sort of video. And that's why I picked that one first. And then since they did give me a little bit of a budget, I used that for the animation and the Out of Reach one to make like real videos. And then I went back to like my old ways of doing like some more DIY stuff, like that Sims video. I made All of Us and then played Sims for like 20 hours and screen recorded all of it and then like fit it to the music. So, you know.
That is awesome. I mean, I wanted to ask, is that literally how the approach went with that video?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean,
yeah, I like that. It kind of fit like the story of that song where it's like you don't have much like free time if you have like a job and like responsibilities and stuff, and it's like depressing because you want to like create stuff or do what you want, and you know you're so exhausted by the end of the day you don't have like time. And that game is really like, I had to stop playing it when I was like younger because it's super fun, but you're like, I'm like playing a game that's like just living, and it's like I could just go like actually live. So I don't know, it was like this weird metaphorical thing in my head, I guess.
Oh, I really can vibe with that completely. I mean, I grew up playing Sims. I'm a big video game nerd, if you can tell from, you know,
nice.
The shirt even now, I guess today, but damn, that music video. I mean, I really loved it because that song is just it is a contrast to maybe some of the others in the efforts. And I also, for YouTube, the comments on there are pretty kind. You know what I mean? For that video, you know, for it being YouTube. So I definitely recommend anybody go and check out all these, but Recluse in the Making's really sweet. And the comments, again, just a lot of people seem to be like going through nostalgia and stuff looking at it.
For sure.
So transitioning gears here a little bit. And again, everybody, the new album, Bless My Psyche, just dropped September 10 via Hopeless. You're going to be special guests on this upcoming tour with Hot Mulligan, with other special guests, Prince Daddy and the Hyena and Super American. I think they are releasing singles. I think they have new music, like a full collection coming soon.
I think so too, yeah.
I'm really excited about that. So this tour with Hot Mulligan is going to be November 11. It's going all the way to December the 18th. And I think this tour, like, I think it like is supposed to be supporting Hot Mulligan's like last two releases that just they could never go and tour on, and there's been a lot of hype about this. Most of the cities are sold out, probably because everybody still had all the tickets. There's either sold out cities or low ticket warnings or venue upgrades. So just there's like a mass amount of excitement behind this.
Totally.
Talk to me about how you're feeling about to go out on this amazing run of shows.
We're super excited. We haven't been out since like the start of the pandemic. Like I said, we had to go home like 2 days into our last tour. And I love Hot Mulligan. They're one of my favorite bands right now. So I'm super excited just to watch them every night. A little concerned about like pandemic stuff, but we're gonna like, you know, have the self-test and stuff and stay safe. But yeah, we're stoked. We have it kind of feels surreal at the moment, so
I think it's good. It does feel weird to an extent, at least for me, like sometimes to get excited about shows, but then you have to get excited, do the right things, follow the right you know, the right precautions to be safe and to build up this community so that we can all keep living and making the music that bands like Sincere Engineer's doing. How are you preparing, though, for something like this? I mean, in terms of even like band practice, I don't know if that has even started yet. Like, what does a band do to prepare for something like this?
We have been practicing. We didn't like throughout the whole pandemic. So even for this like release show, we started like in this like June of this year. So it was kind of weird. We had to like, because like I said, we all recorded separately. So we had not played the songs together up until like June, like for this record. So it's that's part of it. We're just kind of getting all our ducks in a row, like, you know, like getting merch together, renting a van. But yeah, I don't know. We're just taking it day by day, I guess.
And have you kind of, when it comes to like a set list for you, is that a fluid thing? Has that already been kind of determined in your mind? Like, how do you approach that, pending obviously your length of time playing?
Yeah, honestly, I let my bandmates take care of that because we do it kind of by capos. We use a lot of capos, so we group them together like that. But we're like trying to do like the singles from this new record, and then some old singles as well, probably for this upcoming tour. But it usually just depends on how much time we get, where we are, what we think the fans will like, sort of deal.
Have you been on a run that would span a longer period of time than like this November 11 through 18?
No, this will be the longest one. We did Bayside in 2019. That was 26 days. This one's like 36 or something. So
wow. Okay. So even like a weekender is a grind. A lot of people don't, I think, get just how much of a toll touring can really take on people.
I didn't mention that at first. It is very exhausting and it's hard to be away from home. There are definitely downsides.
Yeah, there's not a ton of glamour in it, and I learned that pretty quickly from talking to a lot of bands, and I've never really gotten on a big healthy tour myself as an artist, but I've definitely learned that it's not as glamorous as maybe I once thought. What are some things maybe that you do to help lessen some of that, like, loneliness of being away from home or just being in a different town? Like, is there anything that you do to just kind of keep zen throughout this process?
Yeah, collectively we play Nintendo Switch at like hotel rooms. That kind of makes us feel like we're just hanging out at home.
Yeah.
And then like FaceTiming my boyfriend and my parents, of course. And yeah, it's really like the hanging out with my bandmates just as friends, because we're like, that makes it feel like we're just like on a little trip. But then it's like, oh, we have to carry shit and do work for a little bit. So
what Nintendo Switch games are you playing right now? Anything that's on your radar?
They're like old, like Mario Kart and Mario Party.
There we go.
And then we do, is it Chopped with the cooking game?
Oh, the Overcooked game, or?
Yes, that's it. Sorry. Yeah. It gets very heated.
I feel like that could make an excellent podcast, like video podcast for the band or something totally. For TikTok. I think you do some stuff on TikTok, don't you?
I've tried. It's kind of hard for me because I don't like talking to the phone. So
TikTok is not easy. I'm trying it myself, and every time I talk to I had Vile on recently, and Vile just like kicks ass at the TikTok game, and I was trying to get them to give me some tips on it, but I don't know if they didn't want to share. So, but TikTok is not easy.
It's not.
It takes a lot of effort for sure. It's a lot harder than typing out like 140 characters in a tweet. No doubt about it. Is there anything that you do on tour, like right before a show? Like, do you have any kind of like rituals, or I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff, or is there anything like vocally you do that just like helps you get prepped for it?
Sometimes my bassist will help me like with like vocal, what do you call it, like warm-ups, because I don't know how to do them myself. And then we do this thing where we like listen to Shania Twain and like sing along and like kind of get hyped up like right before we go out. And then I got to do a lot of pacing and like freaking out because I get nervous every single time. So
every single time, I totally can relate to that. Every podcast episode. Yeah. I mean, I think it shows that you still love what you're doing a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. I always tell myself it just means that I want it to be good and I don't want to mess up. So
absolutely. Totally can relate to that. Does Sincere Engineer have anything else going on that our listeners should know about? Anything in support of the new record? I know about the Hot Mulligan tour. Is there any strings of shows in between now and then?
There is not at the moment. I'm trying to think. I mean, like the record's been like such a like the main focus at the moment. So I'm just going to say, check that out.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to work on the next one so that it's not a 4-year gap between this one and the next one, stuff like that.
And it's about a month and a half or so until this Hot Mulligan tour hits. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to do from now until then, and definitely ride this wave of the new album for sure. The last question I really want to get to you, Deanna, is there's just been a lot of amazing music that's dropped recently this year. I'm just curious if there's anything that you've been listening to that's been on repeat, or anything that's, just something that you've been interested in lately.
Yeah, I just got into the Turnstile, the new record that just came out.
Yeah.
I did not know them up until like a week ago, but I really love that.
Yep.
And then I've been on like a Fleetwood Mac kick, so that's not like anything new, but I grew up on like a lot of like old dad rock sort of, so
yeah.
I definitely fall back on that when
I read an interview in my in-depth research before I have bands on or anything, where somebody asked you a question about like your love for dad rock, and I think you mentioned like the Eagles or something.
Totally.
Is there any like new age dad rock that exists? I mean, I feel like there's kind of like an aesthetic for it, but is there music that's being created under that moniker?
I don't know. I don't know if there is. I'd love to hear it. I'm not sure.
Maybe Spinning Thoughts is the vessel to help get Deanna into any new age, new wave dad rock. So if anybody knows, let us know on social media at Spin Thoughts. Deanna, I really appreciate you giving me the time. I know that it's a crazy weekend with the release and everything. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you'd like to add, say, or anything that you want to correct that I could have fucked up along the way?
No, I think we're good. Check out the record if you want. And thank you for having me. This is fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Deanna. And everybody go check out Bless My Psyche. Once again, I want to thank Deanna from Sincere Engineer for being my special guest here in episode 221 of Spinning Thoughts. Make sure you go and check out the new album, Bless My Psyche. It just dropped on September the 10th via Hopeless Records. And while you're at it, you can go ahead, follow us on all the social media at Spin Thoughts. Our website is thespinningthoughts.com, and we have premiere episodes every Thursday at midnight Eastern on idobi Radio. If you like this video, give it a like. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed with all the notifications, and we'll be back same time, same place next week. Until then, make sure you share music, spread love.